Hey, welcome back to the Travel Ones podcast. Today, my guest is JD Shultz. He's a artiste, a musician, dad, husband, been around the block plus a couple. How are you doing today, JD?
It's so great to be here.
Ah, I,
Feeling
pre
blessed.
I appreciate the time, man. It's gonna be a fun conversation. We had a little pre-chat, and we have a lot of similarities. Not just our age group, but
Right.
you know,
So it's
got
good to be here. Let's
you got a lot
talk.
going on, and I'm trying
I
to
got a
squeeze
lot
things
going on. I
in.
know. It's so much that it's hard to even think of what to say.
And something tells me you're not gonna have that problem.
I know. I know.
So you are an artist. You're
Yes.
the first artist I've had on, like a painter, anybody that makes their living selling their artwork. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Wow. Yeah. I have to count my blessings every day and thank my parents because my mom and dad paved the way for everybody in my family. My sister, my brother, we're all professional artists that have never really had another job in our whole life
That's
other than
amazing.
selling our art. Yeah.
And then you're a musician. We were talking briefly about you got your third solo album coming out.
Yes. I go by the name Human Brother, and I've been making music my whole life and learning how to play instruments since I was a little kid and never gave up on that. And now at my age, I just can't get enough of it. Now that I know how to take advantage of all the technology that's available
Yeah,
to musicians and becoming an engineer and a mixer and it's there's a lot to do and it's taken me all these years to be able to do it and I don't want to stop doing it. I feel like
I hear you.
no.
For me, it was almost the exact opposite. Like I had no technology. I was a sales rep. I just go out and sell, and I learned how to talk to people. But then when I
Yeah.
wanted to start the show, I was like, I literally reached out to my daughter, my younger daughter, and said, "Hey, here's exactly what I want to do. What programs or what computer, what hardware do I need to make this all happen?" And so
There
she
you
helped
go.
me out and hooked me up, and then I've grown it little piece by piece. But I'm the same boat. It's like I'm editing, I'm producing, doing
Doing it all.
doing it all.
It's great. It's there's a rewarding feeling after spending all your money to
Yeah.
get into a recording studio and pay an engineer and then look at, what am I doing? I'm spending thousands of dollars on a demo. And where am I even getting this money? In the beginning it was like,
Yeah.
Dad,
Yeah.
please, I'm doing a demo. Please, I need to get in this studio. So a whole life of that, you
Yeah.
can imagine the freedom that technology has brought my way to be able to just make albums in my home.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's the
amazing.
incredible part. I mean, I've interviewed people literally around the world and Bosnia and I mean, everywhere, just by what we have available sitting in our homes.
It's incredible. Now we just gotta, as a race,
Yeah.
the human
Yeah.
race, as a human, we just have to get the balance with this whole thing with technology
Yeah.
and how it's probably more detrimental to this planet than it is positive. I mean, that's just, the reality is there's just too much available to the anybody with a press of a button that can take advantage of whatever their mindset,
So
whatever their
how do
belief.
we get that funnel? You know what I mean? Like that
I
because
don't know. Maybe it's just a big trick. Who knows? I don't know. I don't believe. I believe that we're all energy. We were brought to this planet to coexist.
yeah.
I believe that we're all here for everybody has a right to exist. And I believe that we're all here to coexist, regardless of our differences and belief systems, religions. I just think that we should all just realize that
Yeah.
we're all here to love each other and protect this planet so our kids, everybody's having kids. Well, not everybody,
Yeah.
but you go to Africa, you go to Asia, how many people, babies are being born every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're making me think because I think well, you hope. The you want most people want what's best for everybody, right? But yet we become such a competitive mindset. I've got to get the promotion before Bill because I need the money more because my wife wants to go on a vacation and you know it, we're always striving. I don't know if it's an American thing or it's just a cultural thing of today's day, because well, social media, you see, oh, he's got a nice car, or he's got a jet, or he lives over here, or he went
Yeah.
to this restaurant and he celebrated, he's going to Vegas, and everyone's always trying to one up each other versus
Yeah. And
coexist.
and the bigger scheme as well with, nations and religions, and my religion is everything. If you don't follow it,
You're nothing. Yeah.
I have zero respect. I don't like you.
All right.
This is what the world is faced with right now. And everything is so right in your face with social media like never before.
Yeah.
It's a transparent, everything is transparent now. We're like, maybe it was like that 50 years ago, and people were really having these feelings, and I'm sure they were, but now it's just hyper, like hyperspace,
Well,
uh,
I always tell people, JD, I said, when we were kids, news came on at 5 to maybe 6, and then you had the 11 o'clock news, which it was usually too late for me to stay up,
yeah,
and that was it. But now these channels, they have to fill up space.
yeah,
So, and it's all about ratings and clickbait, right? So, because they need
yeah,
you to watch their shows.
I know,
So they're going to have the most radical people on either side
yeah,
to say the most controversial things. So you'll listen to it. So they'll take a 5 second sound bite out of that interview to put it on social media to get you to go to their, so you'll become a fan and you'll subscribe to them and all that. And but it's TMZ, right? It's like if there's no
yeah,
celebrity news, they have to make it.
yeah.
So then I got to send paparazzi out to bother some celebrities to get that shot of them going, you know,
Right, right, I know,
but they have to create to fill up that space. CNN is on 24 hours a day, 365. They
yeah,
have to fill up 24 hours a day
yeah.
of
I
something.
think at the end of the day, I just think it's sad. It's sad that everything is about money.
Yeah.
We're all here just like, look at this life. You get to look up at the sky and look at that flower, pick up a guitar, pick up a paintbrush, create,
Have
have
a
a family.
conversation with a new friend.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, everything that the world sees every day, money is really at the forefront of everything.
Yeah.
It's how much money somebody is making by what they're putting out there, whether it be your hat, whether it be my paintings, or a TV show, or news media, everything. It's about who's making this person money. And I just think that that's a sad, that's a sad scenario to me for a planet of beautiful creatures,
Yeah.
that if money wasn't at the forefront of everything, would probably all just figure out a way to just live
Get
together
along.
and make music together, create art together, create new ways of communicating and reaching other people, and valuing, not only valuing human life, but valuing our differences in culture instead of being, alienating themselves from it and looking down on it. I just think that money is the root of all evil.
Do you think at our advanced age, even though I'm a little older than you, so I'm kind of throwing you up the ladder a little bit, but
That's okay.
do you think I didn't think this way when I was in my 20s or 30s? I was more of that mindset of I got to get the promotion, I got to, get the house, I got to make more money for my family. 'Cause my kids are 29 and 30 now.
Mm,
So, I'm a grandpa now, so it's kind of cool.
congrats.
And but in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't as reflective as I am now. So I just wonder if it's just an age thing that
It kind of is because, yeah, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're just like, oh shit.
yeah, about
My
everything.
parents, everybody, my brother, everybody's like, you better get it out there, dude. You
Yeah.
don't want to get a job. You better join the family business. And I think it was just like, you just had to figure out a way to do what you love
Yeah.
and not have to go into the workforce, like have to get a job. Like, I was raised in a household where my mom and dad, they raised three kids with their art. So they didn't have to go. My dad didn't have to go to work and
Right.
leave my mom. They worked
He was
together.
home.
We made art. We were together every day. It was a very, almost like a modern day Waltons, but with paintbrushes,
Yeah.
uh, and so, but I guess back to the whole in my 20s, it was all about just finding a way to do what you love and get paid for it and avoid having to do what you don't love at all costs. And yeah,
Interesting. Because
that's
I had that
really
conversation with
how
my
much
daughters
what's
when
that?
I had a conversation with my daughter when she was graduating. She graduated from Cal State Northridge,
Yeah,
and we go to lunch, and I go, look, most of the people are either working in something they love to do and probably don't make a lot of money doing it,
yeah,
or they work to make a lot of money, so on the weekends or in their free time they can do what they love.
yeah,
But it's very rare that you get to make a good amount of money and do something you love. Because my daughter she graduated in screenwriting and she was writing music and doing that. And I was like, if you hit the lottery of song music and you write a hit song that gets picked up by some Taylor Swift or whatever, fine. But it's winning the lottery. It's a 1 in a million, right? I go, but if that's what you love doing, then pursue it. Just know that there's not going to be a tremendous amount of extra money floating around
yeah.
for you to go on vacation and all that. So,
I know. Well, it's harder and harder to break in,
oh
and
yeah,
the people that stick to it, I think, will get the ultimate gratification, which is to be able to do it. If you have the
yeah,
time and the desire and the passion to do something that you love, regardless of money coming in, you've succeeded. That's to me, that's the Grammy Award. That's the Oscar. That's, having the time, the desire, the passion, and the skill set to really leave a body of work for your
yeah.
kids. And this is what I did. If it's a few thousand people, that came across JD Shultz in their lifetime, that's my legacy. It's to them. It's the people that, are here when I'm not, that remember me, and they get to check out what I did while I was here. But I'll tell
I
you,
got a question I've been thinking about
yeah,
when I agreed to do it. I'm like, man, he's an artist. I'm always curious. Would you rather, let's say you did a John Lennon piece.
yeah.
Would you rather that be out in public where multiple people can see it, or if one person if I were to buy it and put it in my house and only my wife and I see it, I mean, is it important for you to have your art seen by a lot of people or just people that really respect it?
Oh, that's a good question. Absolutely. It's a business, and John Lennon is part of my music
Yeah.
uh, category. I do many different styles of art, but I make art to sell the art so I can feed my family,
Yeah.
and so I can, pay my mortgage and keep building, a savings account. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so because it's my business, in this day and age, it really would, unless I was Andy Warhol or Picasso, wouldn't make sense for me to just try to sell a painting to one person and have no one else see it, because I need to sell another John Lennon. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I do something called mixed media. Okay. So if I make a painting and it takes me a certain amount of hours, I then take that painting to be professionally photographed so I can then print it on the side of a building if I
Yeah.
want it. Or I can print it multiple times and keep selling it without having to spend the same amount of hours that I did to paint the original.
Yeah.
And so what I do is, after 37 years of selling my art, I try to hold my value for what I believe my one of one original paintings are worth. So the first painting I make of that John Lennon, of that specific image,
Yeah.
that whatever that image I saw, I didn't take that photograph, but I saw the image and I made a painting of it. And so what I'm trying to do is hold on to the original until I find the person that understands my value and is really ready to pay what I'm worth. But if they don't buy the original and they can't afford it,
By the print.
they can buy a mixed media original, which is partial print of the painting and partial paint.
Oh,
So it
okay.
becomes an original. You know what I mean? Imagine if Warhol was alive and he walked into a bar and someone's holding a, hey, I've got a print of your print at a gallery. It's a print. Your signature's on there too.
Yeah.
So if Warhol took a paintbrush
And paint.
and painted on that print, it's now an original Warhol. Now I'm not Andy Warhol, but I'm a businessman and I've sold thousands of pieces. So it's like I treat it as a business and I offer what people want. I give people what they can afford, what they want. If they can't afford the original, get a print. You want an original, but you don't want to print it? Then get a mixed media original.
I
And
gotcha.
I can charge you this amount.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my business model. So I would have to say I need more eyeballs on my art than less
Okay.
to answer the question.
Yeah. Because I was always curious because I've taken some photos in the past and there's a local place and she sold a couple of pieces that I did. And I'm like, that picture that I took is now in somebody's house. It's just weird to me. Like, like,
Right.
and I don't know. I mean, like if I sell it to my aunt or whatever,
Yeah.
but this is somebody that walked by. Is that a cool feeling for you?
Yeah. I mean, yes. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
somebody
a
that
better
doesn't know
feeling.
you
It's
says
it's a
that
better
moves me so much,
feeling.
I'm going to pay for it.
Yes, that's a great feeling. And I have nothing but gratitude
Yeah.
every day for that. It's a better feeling when somebody wants to buy it as
Well, yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to just looking at it and going, oh, that's cool.
No, I'm
You
saying
know?
somebody that spends their money that they earned,
Yes.
and they're
Oh,
like, this means so much to me that I'm going to spend the money that I earned
yes.
and put something on my wall so I can look
It's
at
an
it.
amazing, yes, it's an incredible feeling. And I
Yeah.
feel it's my calling. And I feel like I'm just a messenger for creativity and art and music and decor, because you put one of these over the sofa,
Yeah.
it's going to be the talking point of the room. That's pretty much why I'm here talking about it, because I think that my art has something a little bit different.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
people haven't seen anything quite like it until they see it in person, because it's a different technique. Um, it's
Yeah.
it's reverse it's reverse glass. So I paint on the back of plexiglass. That's one of my mediums, but that's a medium that I did for about 25 years before I started really getting into canvas. And so now I do both.
Oh, wow.
So I paint on canvas, and my canvas work, look, I do abstracts that look like a completely different artist
Yeah.
than my rock art. That's at Guitar Center Hollywood and Center Staging. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. I
If you,
know.
if you want me to get into the whole Guitar Center thing, you just let me know.
Well,
It's
yeah,
one of
my,
my
my, my
biggest.
buddy worked at that Guitar Center for a long time. Andre Holmes, he plays with the Time, more stay in the
Okay.
time. But when he's not on tour, he that's the Guitar Center he worked at. Oh,
I walked in there in 1982 with $4,000. I was 13. I had $4,000 because of a settlement from a toy rocket blowing up on the side of my face. And I got an insurance settlement for 4 grand. And for some reason, I just said, Dad,
well,
take
I
me to
can.
Guitar Center. And I went to Guitar Center and I ordered a custom 9-piece drum set, a Gretsch.
Oh my God.
And that was the beginning.
Yeah. Little did he know.
Little did he know. And for the next, 1982,
42
I
years
just,
later.
42 years, I have spent so much money in that store. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, that old saying, what goes around comes around. So the way I got my art in the Guitar Center was in 2011, when the head of artist relations, David Weiderman, reached out to me and said, JD, we want you to do a painting for the museum. And he's the guy that I bought that drum set from when he was a 27-year-old drum salesman at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And then a few years after that, he got promoted to head of artist relations. And then he actually started the Rock Walk Museum with the other owner, forget the guy's name, but it was him and another guy and the owner of the company that actually made that museum happen in the front of the store. And so I stayed friends with him throughout
Yeah.
everything through. I just kept going to him. He would give me the best prices, So every time I went to Guitar Center, and it was hundreds and hundreds of times, I'm always like, Dave,
Yeah.
come on, give me a deal. What's my price?
I need a cable. Help me out.
He would give me, he was the greatest. He would always give people like these great deals.
Yeah.
So I went to him all through the years, and then we played softball together in the 90s. And then so we just stayed friends the whole time. And in 2011, he said, JD, we want you to do some art for the Rock Walk Museum. And so I did that painting that's now over my drum set at my own recording studio of all the band logos. So I don't know if you've seen it, but I
Yeah. Yeah.
painted all the band names.
Yeah.
And they put it in the window in 2011 for the day that Jane's Addiction got inducted to the Rock Walk. And I got video with me and the guys and the band and pictures in front of the art. It was great. And that's the beginning of when my art went into Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And then they ended up giving me a gallery there and putting more art in different rooms. But then what happened in 2019, they did a complete remodel. It was like 18 or 19, 2018 or 19. They took the soul out of the store in Hollywood, the original store. They turned it into like a Target for guitars.
Yeah.
And it took all the soul out, man. They took the museum out and they made it into something else. It's still there, but it's not what it used to be. When they had all the memorabilia in the windows and like Eddie Van Halen guitars and Jimi Hendrix guitars, and you had Rush and Neil Peart's drums and everything was right there in the windows. And now it just looks very stale with like a few guitars in glass cases, nothing else. And it looks like a mausoleum for guitars now. And they're going to have to fix it. And so the point that I'm making is that for the last 5 years, 5.5 years, I have been working with the new head of artist relations, Eric Bradley, who became a dear friend. And we have a new installation that's about 6-7 months old now, where for the first time, they put my art in the main room at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
On the stairs with all their memorabilia mixed in. And now they're moving them into different rooms. So they just put 4 more pieces in, another piece in that room. So I have about 20 paintings that are hanging up at Guitar Center Hollywood on Sunset. Such an honor, bro.
Yeah. Well, you're a Fairfax guy, right?
Yes.
I mean, born in LA?
Born and raised in LA, Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
The museum, the Brea Tar Pits, was a block and a half away from my childhood home that I lived for about 15 years. But that's where I'm from, the Miracle Mile, Fairfax and Wilshire, Pan Pacific Park.
Yeah, I was just at Cantor's, 2 days ago?
Oh, yes. So you saw my painting in the main room there, huh?
Yeah.
How did it look?
It looked great. I was just happy there was no one sitting at the booth at the time when I went to go take the picture of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was going to be like, hey, I'm not taking a picture of you. I just want to get a picture of the
right. Was there somebody sitting at the table?
Not at the time, because I just finished.
Okay,
they had just finished. So they got up and I was sitting over kind of by the bar area.
Nice.
So I was just looking to the left. I'm like, all right, I'll wait.
Another great honor,
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like my office away from home. I go there and take meetings there when I'm going to the old neighborhood, and it's a great feeling. Yeah,
that's a cool. I mean, they got enough press, obviously, with everybody that goes there. But I mean, I've had some very cool experiences in that restaurant.
Have you?
Oh yeah. So we went to the Comedy Store. My wife and her best friend and her husband came up from San Diego. So we go to the Comedy Store, and Bobby Lee was one of the headliners that night.
Okay.
Laughing, busting our chops, and he was giving us grief because my wife and more importantly my wife's friends, very well endowed, and they sat us up front. So every comedian that came by was taking a look.
Oh my!
And so
you gotta be
Bobby was
kidding
was
me.
making fun of us and all that. He's in a good way. I mean, it's all fun. we get
So the
done
guy can't
talking.
wear an outfit to cover up his endowment? That's
Well,
insane.
it was pretty funny because I think God, it might have been Bob, might have been one of the comedians who goes, "Wow," to my wife's friend and goes, "Husband or boyfriend?" And Joe, big Italian guy, goes, "Husband." He goes, "Anyways," you know,
Oh my God.
yeah. So we get done and we go to Cantor's because Kim
Yeah.
wanted to go to Cantor's and all that, and so we sit down, and literally on the other side of the glass of the booth is Bobby Lee talking to a friend having dinner.
Yeah.
And we're like, Bobby looks at through the glass, goes, he comes over the glass, goes, "Were you guys just at my show?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you like it?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay." So,
Great.
and he said goodbye. And then he goes, "Hey," so he comes back over the glass of like 10, 15 minutes later and goes, "Do you guys ever watch Mad TV?" And we're like, "Oh, yeah, you were on Mad TV." And he goes, "Will Sasso sitting right behind me." And we looked and we're like, "Oh my God, Will Sasso." And he's like, "Hey guys,
Oh, that's cool.
just cool." And Rodney on the Rock's always there,
Oh, are you kidding
we,
me?
we sat in his booth one time. We didn't know it was his booth. And he came in.
He sat at my table, and I got a great picture on my website of
Oh,
him
there you
sitting at
go.
my table. He actually posted on his social media. He posted him sitting at my table with my painting right in the back, and he wrote, "What do you guys think of this painting?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No way!" I went on Facebook and saw it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Rodney posted, and I've seen and had dinner with him there over the years because I've been going to Cantor's my whole life. My
I
parents
bet.
used to take us to Cantor's because that was the deli, and
Yeah.
we were from the neighborhood, and but God, 25 years ago, I think I saw Rodney there for the first time and was like, "Wait, there's Rodney." And I was always trying to push my music.
Yeah.
So I had different artists that I was
Oh,
working and
that's right.
producing with. So it always like, "Hey, let's just go." Like I'll have my singer just go up to him, say, "Hey, play
Yeah.
our CD, or can we get a photo?" Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we actually became friends, gave him a CD of an artist that I was writing and producing called Girl Without Fear, and he played it on K Rock like 2 weeks after I gave it to him. And
How cool is
so,
that?
isn't that cool? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of my great memories. And few times that my stuff has been on commercial radio, through the years. But you know, here I am making music, making
Yeah.
art, doing it for the love of it, and being very thankful that I could do what I love, which is to
Let me
me
ask you this
everything.
question. And I'm assuming you've had some
Yeah.
struggles throughout your life.
Well, it's a
How do you
hustle.
get through them?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a deep,
Yeah.
multi-layered question. But I would say that it's been a hustle. The older I get, the more I'm realizing that um, I'd like to not have to hustle as much because I feel that my art and my music, has reached a certain level where it'd be nice for other people to get it out there for
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
feel I've earned that right, but everybody has their own journey and their own time where one day they wake up and they just wait. They don't have to do anything. And then maybe who knows, maybe they lose that passion, that drive
Yeah. Exactly.
that got you to where you are in the first place. So maybe the hustle will never really end for me. Or maybe as I get older, I mean, look, it's nice to get older and not have to hustle, So I'm hoping that it gets a little bit easier.
Man, you let me know. We're in the same boat.
Really, it's
Well,
a
yeah. I mean,
hustle.
I'm
Life's a hustle.
it's the 30 plus years of 35. Well, shoot, how old am I? Shoot, 40 years of working. Yeah, at some point it'd be nice to not have to. But I have a coworker. She's in her late 70s, and she does what I do. So I'm like, wow, she's 20 plus years on me, and she does what I do.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to
Wow.
complain. It's like, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like,
Yeah. You just, you just want to know that you're going to wake up and just not, you think about it. 10 million in the bank is kind of like, or
yeah,
maybe some people could make 5 million in the bank. You know, that's it. I'm good and I can invest and but it just seems like people just have to keep making money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They
Well,
have to keep bringing the money, and even until you're an older person.
look at the artists that are still touring. The Stones,
Yeah,
Billy Idol.
yeah,
Because I had Stevens on my show,
yeah.
and they don't. I guess I don't know if they have to tour, but they're touring probably 80 to 100 days a year. And they're in
Well,
their
those guys need that. Yeah, I would imagine they would do it in a heart just to do it. Because once you get up on stage and you play music in front of people,
yeah.
there's not a better natural high on this planet that I've
That's what
ever
I'm saying. So I mean,
experienced.
is it hustle or are they just doing something that they would do anyways?
I think it's a little of both because they're lifers. They're lifer musicians that want to play in front of people. They don't want to go get a normal job. Maybe some of them have enough money and investments where they wouldn't have to. Maybe like Billy, I don't know, but I would imagine the band has to keep making money.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go get a job. They're going to do what they love to do, and they get up in front of thousands of people and do it, which is such a great feeling. I know why the Stones are doing it.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to stop doing something that is the most empowering, like godlike feeling on this earth to get up and see thousands of people singing your music?
That's crazy.
I've never experienced that. And I can only imagine how good that would feel because when I get on stage at the Viper Room and play for 100 people and have 6 people singing the lyrics,
Yeah.
it's an amazing feeling, you know?
Have you had? I'm curious. Have you had any experiences with your artwork where you've gone into a house or a building and seen your artwork that you didn't know was there?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Is that cool?
It's cool, and people send me pictures all the time. I got one yesterday from a new collector who actually bought my John Lennon. That's
Oh,
funny.
nice.
And he sent me a picture of my brother's painting on his friend's wall, a painting that my brother did in 1991.
Wow.
And he sent me a picture of that. And I'm like, oh my God. So I sent it to my brother, Adam, and he's like, wow, haven't
Yeah.
seen that paint. Because, back in those days, he didn't take a picture of
Yeah. There's
it.
no social. Yeah.
He just made the painting and then sold
Sold
it.
it.
But yes, I get pictures all the time from people that see my work in various, establishments or homes. And it's a great feeling. It's one of those reassuring feelings, like I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path every time that happens.
Another question for you. Good one.
Yeah.
You have younger children. My kids are, I mean, my oldest is getting married next month. My other one's got a baby and one on the way. But
Yeah.
you have younger children, and I saw the post of her being at Guitar Center. I mean, that's
Oh,
got to
that
be.
was Julian. I know he looks like a little girl sometimes,
Oh
but
my,
that's a
I
boy.
apologize. But I was like, that's got to be incredible for them to see their dad's work.
He was born at a time where it's not as incredible as it would have been if
Yeah.
it was me being a 10-year-old in 1978.
Yeah.
When if my dad would have taken me in 1978 to Guitar Center to show me his art, I might have been a 10-year-old that had a heart attack on the floor
Yeah.
from being like, what?
How's
But
that possible?
in this day and age, the kids, with social media and just the way the world is, and imagine being 10 with
Yeah.
your if you're not a video game, with the state of the art graphics, and if you're not something that really is interesting to a 10-year-old in 2024, even something like that, it's it's not it's I mean, I felt great, don't get me wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was impressed. I got it on film. His natural response was like, yeah, it's cool, Dad. But, you know, did he bring it up again after? Like, wow, Dad, I can't believe your art is really all over Guitar Center Hollywood.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think
I
he
guess
forgot about it.
you're right. I mean, yeah. Like
Yeah,
now
it's
I'm gonna ask my daughters like, what do you think about? Because I'm like, oh, I've interviewed all these people and this and that, and they're like, yeah,
yeah.
it's okay.
the younger people, it's just a different world. Maybe the earth isn't moving faster than it did 40 years ago, but it sure feels like it
Yeah.
because of the lack of attention spans for most people under 40 years old. Even me, it's like, it's people just, they don't, there's so much being thrown at everybody all day long, and everybody is attached to
Yeah.
that device, you know? There's just too much. And I think that it's just desensitizing to a lot of people where they're just, it's just information overload. So they just shut down, and there's just too many things for kids to do these days. And they only want to do the things that really interest them. And if they're not really engaged and really interested in what is going on, they have no time.
Next.
No space for it.
Yeah.
It's almost like in their own way, I don't care. Go in the other room. You know what I mean? Go do your thing. Not saying that that's how my kids are. I see that with just
Cultural.
the world around me.
Yeah, I think that's cultural. I mean,
it's cultural.
Or societal, however you look at it. Because I'm sure there are societies in, in New Zealand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the phone has brought us. I mean, I was literally FaceTiming my daughter who lives outside of and lives in Tennessee. I'm FaceTiming my granddaughter.
Yeah.
And now I called my daughter just to talk to her on the phone, and my granddaughter's like, "How come the phone's not talking? How come he's not moving?" Because it was just a picture of me. So now she expects to see her grandpa on the phone.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's a different world. It's moving faster and faster. And the more that it gets thrown in your face, the more you want to run away and crawl under a rock. But you got to find the balance. And that's, I think, what you and I are both doing. We're taking advantage of technology, and you got to ride with the times. You can't get left back. So
I heard a guy when I first started doing the podcast, and his mentality was like, "Who taught you how to drive a car?" Like, and you learned how to drive a car because you really wanted to drive a car.
Right.
And so if you really wanted to learn how to do a podcast, you would sit back and learn and really learn it. Not
Definitely.
just go off.
Definitely. Find your calling, and that's what you did. And it's great because the legacy that you're going to leave is nothing greater than what you're doing now. Because even with all the work in music, and most people don't even, music has almost become background. It's like even the best music is elevator music these days. And it's just the way the world is, because people don't just sit on a beanbag and listen to an album anymore, like I didn't when I was a kid. Just, and I was a hyper kid. But if you give me the Beach Boys or Fleetwood Mac or Led Zeppelin or the Cars, or the bands that I grew up listening to, and I would just look at the album and I'd put it on, and I would just lay back on my bed reading the liner notes trying to memorize the lyrics and just feeling the music in a way that is the most profound experience, because that music is doing something inside of your soul to make you feel something. And so it was enough for me to just listen to the music, and times have seriously changed.
Man, I tell you, I remember Van Halen 2 or Van Halen 1 with Beautiful Girls on it.
That was 2.
And doing the liner notes, and like I could still sing that song.
Yeah.
It's 40 plus years later.
Yeah.
And there's just, like you said, there's nothing like that. And it's
nothing like it. And who knows if it'll ever come back? It probably won't.
I think it's gone.
It's gone because it's just, there's just too many other things and technology and everything. There's just,
how many good songs do you not hear? Because, I talked to a lot of up and coming, mainly country artists, because of my, of the people I know and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in their 20s. Some are in their teens. But it's about releasing a song. Like, I'm going to release a song. It's going to go on Spotify. I'm going to do a short homemade video, or maybe a higher production video.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if that song gets any traction. Then maybe I'll attach a 3-song EP with that one song into it, but it's one song at a time.
Yeah.
They're not writing 10 songs, 12 songs, 12 tracks, you know.
Well, I am, and it's taken me
Yeah.
years to
Also, it's
get this
Jason,
new.
I mean, that's
Yeah, it's
talk
like
about that.
9 years. It's been a fun little just journey with this third album that I'm about to put out. I go by the name Human Brother, and I make all the music myself, and I write it and I mix it, and I just do it all here, and I do the best I can to get it to sound as good as I can,
Yeah.
to where I'm like, okay, I've exhausted all efforts. I can't, with my equipment and my brain, I can't
This
make
is it.
this sound
Yeah.
any better. And then I'll just say, okay, I'll just put it out. But my last album was called Back to Music, and it came out in 2015, and it got in the running. It was in consideration for 11 Grammy Awards. And that's a great feeling. Having a PDF and that was sent to me from the Recording Academy with my name as producer, male song, singer of the year, rock song of the year, all these great categories, but it's not a nomination.
Right.
It's You've been accepted
Yeah.
into the first round of the votes. And then being a voting member, you go and you sign in, and then you look at a few hundred entries in each of the big categories,
Yeah.
and you see your name next to Pete Townsend and Sting and Eddie Vedder, and you're like, wow, I've made it. But nobody knows who I am because I'm my own. I haven't spent $1 promoting my album.
Right.
So it's just I make it and I put it out there for my kids and whoever knows me that wants to hear some music. But because it hasn't been my living, and
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to make sense of me spending a lot of money to compete with Warner Brothers and how they spend millions of dollars to promote an album or a song. I can't compete with that. So I just don't even waste my time or money. I just put it up on a website and say, hey, whoever wants it, you got it for free.
I figured that out because I'm in the same boat. It's like a lot of people ask me, "Do you monetize your show and this and that?" I'm like, no. Like, I mean, yeah, I got a sponsor here, I got this, I got that, but yeah, it's not why I do it. So it's like not a big deal to me. But
And
everyone seems to be asking me, "Well, how come you don't monetize it? How come you don't?" I had a guy, a friend I've known for 9 years, start up his own show a couple of weeks ago, and he calls me up,
yeah,
"Hey, how do you monetize this?" I'm like, "You've been doing this for 3 weeks, bro.
yeah.
Like 3 weeks, and you want to monetize?"
Well, I think
All
Pete, at
right.
this stage of the game, for me, it's not about fame and reaching millions of people. That would be like, oh wow, I did it. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that was. But it would probably be more of a, okay, now I gotta deal with 50% of people talking crap about it and worrying that someone's gonna like come at me at a
That's
show
so
and
true.
tackle me, or you know what I mean? Or I'm a very sensitive. I mean, most artists are sensitive, but
Yeah.
I'm the guy that if somebody like is saying bad stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to just not think about that. And so maybe it's my journey to just reach the people that really got a chance to know who I am, which is why I think I do my art, my music. It's basically just to like, for the people that know me. I grew up with a lot of people in this town, a lot of musician friends, a lot of baseball, little league grown up, school friends, and collectors of my art that didn't even really know that I did music unless they
Right.
came up to me and I was playing a guitar. So it's kind of like I do it to reach the people that have actually come in contact with me in my lifetime. I don't do it for the millions of strangers, in the world. I just don't care really about that. I'm almost more like, oh God,
Yeah.
hesitant about that kind of success because there's a price to pay with that stuff, and especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
So I feel like the older I get, the less I care about. I mean, would I love to get up on a stage and step on a wah-wah pedal and play a solo in front of 100,000 people like my friend and the Foo Fighters that I grew up with? Would I like to do that? Yes. But if it's my calling, it'll happen naturally, organically.
Yeah.
And if a song of mine picks up and gets some sort of momentum, sure, that would be a really great feeling. But I'm not holding my breath,
Yeah. And you
but
can't
I'm
be.
making the music. I'm breathing because I'm making the music,
Right.
making the art. So back to my album. I got a new album
Yeah.
coming out,
When?
and I got the album is out to my mastering engineer, so he's mastering it right now, and
Okay.
then I'm just gonna upload it to DistroKid, Human Brother on DistroKid, and it'll go to all the platforms, and but this is an album that I haven't been, focused on. It's 9 years in the making,
Yeah.
and it's just a collection of 12 songs that I was able to get finished over the last 9 years. It takes me a long time to finish a song.
But you're doing it
Uh,
all.
what's that?
You're doing it all. I mean,
I'm doing it, yeah, for the most part, and yeah, and so it's not like I set a deadline. And when
yeah.
I moved here to the Valley in 2015, right after that last album, I'm like, okay, you have a new house, you're just moved the family to, you're doing a remodel, and your kids, you're a dad now, you don't really give a shit about
Yeah.
going on tour, you don't want to go on tour. I
Yeah.
don't want to miss a day with my kids. So the idea of me being a rock star kind of just fizzled
Yeah.
when about nine
Being a
years ago when I
musician never
started
did.
this new album. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't spend full time doing it. I've been running an art business and being a dad and little leagues and all this stuff. So it's just it's been a project that I'm like, okay, well, when I realize I have enough material that I'm proud of and I can stand behind, I'll just there's no rush. I'll put
Yeah.
it out. And then when the pandemic came, it was like, there's definitely no rush to finish this album. So, but I now know that it's time to just put this batch of songs out there. And the name of the album is Spirit Animal, and it's Human Brother. And look out for it because, you might find some stuff that you like. And it's free.
What kind of music is it? What
I
genre
grew
would you put
up
it in?
I started out playing the drums. So everything kind of that had this innate sense of rhythm
Okay.
to it. And then when I picked up guitar, it was like I was almost thinking like a drummer. So I would come up with these chords when I was like 18 years old, and I wouldn't even know what chord I was playing, but it would sound
Sounded
good
good,
to
right?
me. And then I'd meet a guitar player and he'd be like, you're playing that chord. And I'm like, I had no idea. I put my fingers in a position and like, I like the sound of that. And then I just would write a song to it. And, but yeah, it started from like a funk drumming because that's kind of how I got into the scene on the music scene in 1988 when Norwood Fisher from Fishbone, the bass player, asked me to be the drummer for his new brainchild, Trulio Disgracious. And they were already signed to a big label, but this was his side band. And he was kind of being the next Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
okay? So
yeah.
he was like, he was already friends with George Clinton. And he was like, you know what? I want to be the new George Clinton. And in his own way. So he put together a 26-piece funk band with all like the premier funk musicians in LA, and Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and John Frusciante from the Peppers and original Parliament Funkadelic, 5 members of Fishbone. So we had all these famous people in the band.
Wow.
And I was the first drummer. And our first gig was opening up for Soundgarden at the Lingerie in 1990. It was right before they exploded. Their album that just got finished, the album that made them famous. Super Unknown, I think was the name of the album that made them famous. But they were already big in Seattle. But that was our first show, and 2 weeks later, we opened for Rage Against the Machine right before they blew up at the Club Lingerie on Sunset, and that comes with having a band that already has famous people in the band.
Yeah.
So, having Flea in the band and Fishbone in the band, we had management and, oh, Living Color is coming to town. They're playing the Palace. Okay, boom. They made a phone call. We were opening up for Living Color. We opened up for them twice, and we opened up for Bootsy. We played Madonna's 33rd birthday party at the Park Plaza Hotel. And George Clinton came on stage
Playing.
with me and was jamming while I'm playing the drums. So many great, those were the best times for me. And nothing has quite even matched that. And that was 33 years ago.
Yeah.
So here I am today doing my own thing. I got tired of being told what beats to play. The drummers were being expended. We were the expendable members of the bands back in the 90s, because if you were doing funk or hip hop or funky stuff, the producers,
808. Yeah.
they were using 808s, they were doing machines, and the drummers were like, we don't need you guys. So the people that got all the credibility were the people that were writing the music. So I spent a few years on the scene realizing that, wait, I might have to start playing another instrument here, because the drums, really, everybody else is getting the accolades but me.
Yeah.
So that's when I said I'm going to start playing guitar, and I took it serious in my early 20s and haven't stopped since. It's been a 30-year journey of just loving the guitar so much that I just had to get 2 carpal tunnel surgeries on both my hands back to back.
Like what Jason had with his the brace I was telling you about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Playing
I
so
don't know if
much,
he
he
had
had
the
to wear a
same
brace.
surgeries, but I just had both my hands done 2 months ago, back to back. And but the guitar, man, it's it's an extension of my soul. It's an extension of who I am. That instrument really took hold of me. And it's like I just love it. It's like it's how I communicate to my inner self, by just sitting there and playing guitar.
I don't have that. I don't have anything that's like I've always joked. I've had so many great musicians on my show. Rudy so
Yeah.
and so, and a bass player you might not have heard of is Jeff Jones.
No.
He was the original bass player for Rush.
Are you kidding me?
So in high school, he went
Are
to
you
high school with Neil, or not Neil, Eric, and they started Rush, and they did like 2 shows.
Wait, who's Eric? You
Uh,
mean
um,
Alex?
Not Eric,
Alex Lifeson or
Alex
Neil
Lifeson,
Peart?
yeah. And
Okay.
so
Wow.
he went to high school with Alex, and they started Rush. He did like 2 shows, he said. He was like, ah, this isn't going anywhere. So he quit. They got Getty. They came in and became Rush, the real Rush.
That's
He went on
amazing.
to play with Tom Cochran in Red Rider with
Okay. Oh,
Lunatic Fringe
wow.
and all that.
Really?
Yeah, another
You mean
Canadian.
before Rush?
No, no, no. So Jeff left, and when he was in high
Oh, Jeff,
school,
the drummer.
yeah,
Got it.
the bass player,
Oh, the bass player. Got it. Got it. Got it.
and so he preluded Geddy Lee from being the bass player in Rush.
And then he went to Red Rider.
Then he went to Red Rider, and then Tom Cochran and all that.
Wasn't that Red Skies of? No, that's the other band. What, Red Rider had a
Lunatic Fringe,
song.
Lunatic
Lunatic
Fringe.
Fringe. I like that video.
Yeah,
One of the first videos on MTV. I remember that.
yeah,
God,
crazy.
amazing. Wow,
And,
wow,
and
wow.
and here's the weirder story. I met Jeff Jones literally in the exact same Western retail store that I met Jason Sine in, doing the same thing. There was a customer buying something else, so I started
Yeah.
helping Jeff. And Jeff was he's playing with I always forget the name, singer from the Guess Who.
Okay. Don't know the band,
Oh, I know. Oh God, it's gonna kill me. I
but
always
nobody under 50 gives a shit.
true. But so Jeff was touring with him, and they were playing
Yeah.
out on the USS Enterprise or whatever, the ship down there in the port. And
Okay.
he was just killing time in between
Yeah.
waiting for the gig that night. And I sold him a shirt, and then I stayed in touch with him and had him on the show.
No, what you've done is pretty amazing.
Same.
To know that your heart is in it, and this is your legacy, buddy.
Yeah.
And it's great to meet you today. Here we
Yeah, brother, it's
are.
been good, man.
Yeah, man. A couple of messages and like, hey, I'll do that. I'm getting my feet wet, because I think I'm going to be doing more of these podcasts.
It's the
Things are
way to
moving
get
in
out.
that direction.
Yeah. It's a great way to get out. Everyone, it's like saying you're a musician and then they go, oh, like the Rolling Stones. You're like, well, not exactly the same. Because
Right.
people always go, oh, like Joe Rogan. I'm like, well, no, without
Right.
the 100 million a year kind of part. Yeah.
No, we're just creating content, and we're putting it out there for the ones that love us, that care, that are entertained enough. And it's just part of what we do as creators, because this is an art form. It's putting yourself out there. It's speaking from
Yeah.
the heart. It's almost like jazz. There's no editing. It's just you're talking, and whatever was said is said. I think there's something very revealing and true about this medium that we're doing here.
Well, that's what
So,
I said earlier. It's a good day to have a conversation because that's really
yeah,
what I consider it to be. It's
that's
not,
what it is, man.
yeah. And it seems like yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, you should have notes, this and that." I go, "Well, no, I just want to get to know this guy, this person.
Right.
Let's just talk."
Yeah, well, I think that, I mean, yeah, we're really hitting it off. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm a family man. I really believe a lot in giving back and just doing my part and teaching whoever I can, the kids, and kind of inspiring them to play music, to use their creative brain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yep.
think that that's very important for the future of the planet. If the kids are told not to do art and not to play an instrument, and they're steered towards video games and sitting there and vegging out in front of a YouTube channel, I don't know. I think it's a recipe for serious um, consequences in the future. And so I'm trying to get the kids to get into the whole organic, learn how to play the drums. You're separating your limbs and you're creating rhythm. You're playing a beat that is the universal like beat of the world. Everyone in every country will move to a drummer's beat if it's played right, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a powerful tool in this world.
It's yeah. Yeah. Stevens talked about that too, is live, real musicians and live music is complete. Like he's not against so much, the electronics of it, but there's nothing that beats from his standpoint was having a drummer say, "Hey, I'm going to play this. Why don't you come in on this note or whatever?"
Yeah.
I don't know music, but he said it's just different when there's people creating something.
There's nothing like it. When you can be in a room with other musicians and you're in sync and you're playing music, it transcends you to another place. And it's like how I didn't realize like I'm never going to be a dad, you don't know what it's like.
Yeah,
And so you just think that, oh, me being a dad, no one really knows what it's like to be a parent until they become a parent.
yeah.
You have to become a parent to know what it's truly like to be to what you're this is what you're missing out on, or this is what you got yourself into. You know what I mean?
I
Either or. You know what I'm
always
saying?
I always tell my friends that but if they're pregnant with their first, I go to movies, sleep in, take naps, go to comedy clubs, go to concerts, because that's going to take a shelf for a few years probably, especially if you're going to have a couple. And they're like, "Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be fine. Yeah, yeah." And then like a couple years later, "Oh my God, I should have listened to you."
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the best thing I've ever done. Everything, it's like it's all about the kids, and in some sense, it takes the pressure off
Yeah.
because before I had the kids, it's all about me. It's like I'm like every
What do I
day,
want
like,
to do
dude,
today?
you're getting older. You got to get that Grammy. You got to show people that you can sing and you can do your own thing. You're a human brother. You're not just a drummer. You're not just a guitar player in a band. You're the guy that It's like you're just every it's all about how I get my message across and how I succeed in the challenge of doing that.
Yeah.
It's like you base your whole life on how much success you're getting on your journey because you're a hard worker and people work hard at their craft and they want to see the rewards.
Goals, yeah.
But when you have kids, it's not about you anymore.
At all.
So as much pressure is put on you to put food on the table and to enrich these kids'
Yeah.
lives, the pressure is now it's off because it doesn't even mean it. It's like it's about them now. It's not about me,
Agreed. Agreed,
right?
brother. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So it makes me feel a lot like okay, I can back off a little.
yeah.
Like this is now my thing. I'm the
Well,
dad.
wait. I mean, it'd be a few years for you, but I mean, when my daughters graduated college and all that, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Hey, I'm not going. There's no school. There's no soccer games. There's no lacrosse games. There's no high school functions. There's no back to school stuff. Like I can do whatever I want now on the weekends. You get your time back. It just takes a while."
It just takes a while, yeah. And I'm a late bloomer, so I got a
Yeah.
10-year-old and and a 17-year-old. I'm so proud of my kids. They just I just look at them and I'm just like, wow. It's like I can't believe I get to just be their dad.
Dude, I'm doing that
You
with my
know?
granddaughter now. It's like,
Yeah, well, I'm not there yet, and I'm not rushing into that one.
it's a crazy feeling.
Hopefully that's a ways away, but it doesn't even matter. It's just we're in this body, we're here for a short period of time. And I just think that the more we can all reach our potential, to leave our mark, our best mark
Yeah.
in this world. I just think that should be the goal. Like how, what do you want to be remembered for? And you might have to work at this to be remembered
For a
for
while.
that.
Yeah.
But I just think that, if we could all just try our hardest to reach our potential. I know it's not easy. Like if I wasn't born into a family where my parents were taking 3 kids to outdoor art festivals in 1971 around Los Angeles,
Yeah.
that's what they did to support our family. My parents ended up selling art to everybody: Steven Spielberg, Marvin Gaye, Hugh Hefner, Stallone, Ron Howard. They all bought from my parents in the Beverly Hills Art Show that happens twice a year on Santa Monica Boulevard. So when you're raised doing that,
Yeah.
and then you get older and you're like, oh, I didn't become a rock star. I didn't become an LA Dodger. I got to go figure out a way to I got to get an apartment. So it
To make
means
the
I got to
money.
make some money.
Yeah.
So that's when I went into my family, business of selling art. But most people are not born into that. They're born into people that wake up and go to work every day. And I would imagine 99% of those people, if they had a choice, would not be doing that particular job. So,
Yeah.
that means
Yeah.
that there's a big percentage of this planet that wakes up every day, and it's always been this way. They wake up every day and they're not really excited about what they have to do for the next 8 hours. And I just think that that's a tough
Uproad
position
yourself.
for a race to be on a planet where everybody is frustrated every day. It's not a good place.
Welcome to the 405 freeway.
Yeah, it's like but I see that the light is kind of coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the light coming at the end of the tunnel very slowly. Like people are starting to realize they can work for themselves. They can go online, social media. That's where social media comes into play as being a great tool for people that have worked corporate their whole adult
And they
life.
can start expressing themselves.
They can start expressing themselves and figure out a way to work from home and not have to go to one. You know what I mean? So slowly but surely, it's going into that positive direction. We just got to hope the planet doesn't explode before
Yeah.
it happens.
Just hang on. Well, hey man, I appreciate the time. What's the best way for my listeners to follow you and see what you got coming on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm at Instagram, JDSHULTZ. I'm sorry, yeah, the JD Schultz at Instagram. So it's the JDSHULTZ on Instagram, and I'm at jdschultz.com is my website. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Spotify. I go by the name Human Brother for my music. You can go to my YouTube channel and see videos of me delivering art to my clients and me in my studio just playing all the instruments and recording music. You can go to youtube.com/onehumanbrother, and that's my YouTube channel. And I just upload fun videos of whatever I think is worthy,
Yeah.
and I think you'll get a kick. Whoever sees it will get a kick out of it. Like, wow, this guy, he's doing some shit.
Well, again, man, I appreciate the time so much, and we'll have to have a lunch or dinner at Cannes or sometime underneath your photo.
Oh, well, it's
Picture.
not a photo, it's a painting.
Picture. I know. I got you.
And that would be awesome. It's really great to talk to you. You have a great spirit.
Appreciate it,
And
man.
I couldn't imagine spending my time any wiser than with
I
you today.
think our wives would get along too with their shared interest.
Let's do it, man. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Well, now we
You're
gotta
here in the
wait. We
South
gotta wait a
Bay.
few weeks.
Yeah, well, exactly. She's in Bali, but really, man, you have a great spirit, and thank you for opening yourself up to me and
Oh
letting
yeah.
me spill the beans, however I did.
You did what you did. It's perfect.
I did what I did. It's a part of the war. It happened, There's no accidents.
Yep.
So whatever was said today was meant to be said on your podcast. Now, what is the name of the podcast? It's The Travel Wins.
The travel wins.
The Travel Wins. Okay. So everything was meant to be today. And
Yep.
and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Great to meet you. And I look
Good.
forward to seeing this off the cuff little podcast.
I will share. I'll let you know when it's coming out. It'll be a few weeks, but I'll definitely make you
Amazing.
aware.
Okay, buddy. Well,
Thanks,
great
brother.
to see you. See you again soon.
Talk to you later.
Later, buddy.